Okay, so I'm back. All right, this computer sometimes gives me trouble. So the next thing is to read for the literal sense. Okay, and one thing I already noticed when I read it through, of course I read it many times, but is it really this is all one sentence? All this stuff, this, and all this stuff bewitches me more than when art is too precise in every part. So this is all like the subject of one sentence here. So when I read it again, I'm going to read it more for the literal sense and think about what it means. And I'll kind of pause as I go through that. A sweet disorder in the dress, so her clothes are disorderly, kindles in clothes a wantonness. Wantonness means sort of a little loose, like sexually loose. Okay, a little easy maybe. And kindles, that means like you make a fire by kindling it. So it means sort of setting a fire. A wantonness, a lawn about the shoulders thrown into a fine distraction. Of course, we think of a lawn as grass, but I looked this up, and lawn can be like sort of a throw, like a little thing that a lady puts over her shoulders or something, just like it says. And then he makes a joke here, thrown into a fine distraction. So this what would be another word for it? This cape or not cape? I don't know what you call that. A little thing you throw over your shoulders is literally thrown over her shoulders. But then he manages to make thrown work twice by thrown into a distraction, that's what the lawn does to him, the speaker. He gets distracted by seeing her clothing. So he kind of doubles up on that. We keep going, an erring lace, which here and there enthralls the crimson stomacher. Okay, so here, lace, we know what lace is. Now, the crimson stomacher is like one of those things in the old-fashioned times that they would put over their middle, the women, to kind of tighten it up, kind of like a, what do you call it, a bodice or something like that. Something kind of like that. Or what do they call it, like you see somebody like Madonna wearing one of those things. I don't know what else you can call them. Kind of like a girdle on the outside, something like that. And so again, notice we do have some personification. The lace is erring because means to wander. Well, lace wanders, right? It moves around. It can be like that, like this little snake. Can you see that little snake I drew there? I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So it's wandering like that. But wandering also has a moral meaning, right? It suggests somebody who wanders off the straight path. So they err in the sense of making mistakes or even sinning or what have you. And it could also refer to the speaker whose mind is wandering. And also we see how he's kind of making it look like the lace is turning on the stomacher, ooh, enthralling, whoo, yeah. So he's personifying the stomacher as if it's getting turned on by the lace. So we'll come back and talk about this, but if we walk through it, and then a cuff neglectful, so like maybe the cuff is a little, not perfectly done there, and thereby, and here I think he might be making a joke on thereby. Thereby usually means and thus and so, but here I think he means it spatially, like next to that, by there. So it might be both. And so by there are ribbons, and that's an old-fashioned spelling of ribbons. Ribbons that flow confusedly. Well, that's kind of the same thing. So we have ribbons and lace, but they're very similar. Flowing, again, would be something like this, confusedly. Maybe the ribbons are like, all messed up like that, so they're disordered, right? And yes, and then a winning wave deserving note in the tempestuous petticoat. A lot of you did really well. You said that wave could mean like a wave in the ocean or a wave on a creek or a river or whatever. And but you also noted that a wave is something that a person can do with her hand, right? And a winning wave here means this is an expression that might not be so common anymore, but you could say like she has a very winning way about her, or she has a very winning attitude, and that means like positive or something that really attracts people, that wins people over, if you will. So this works probably on at least three levels. It's the wave. In the petticoat because the petticoat is moving, so it's waving. It could suggest that the girl waves and that she has a winning wave, and she's good looking and she's attractive. Well, that's at least two meanings. There might be another. But then if we keep going, we see that he keeps the water imagery going. Because here we have in the tempestuous petticoat. Now, a lot of you looked up tempestuous and you saw it meant something like volatile or emotional. I can't remember what all you guys came up with. But one thing here is you want to look at the root of the word, and a lot of you probably don't know this, but if you look up tempest, you'll see that a tempest is a storm at sea. So tempestuous petticoat suggests really stormy petticoat, and it picks up on the water imagery or the ocean imagery because here we have a wave and here we have a storm at sea. So he kind of carries that water imagery through there, and it suggests the petticoat is all over the place. The petticoat, right, is what's underneath the main skirt, but back in the day, I think they would kind of make it so that when a woman would swirl around, right, those petticoats underneath the main skirt would show, right? And so it's sort of like maybe I imagine she's walking in such a way that everything's swaying and swinging about. So it's tempestuous, it's waving like that. So it's almost like she's a walking ocean. But at the same time, tempestuous suggests, as you guys noted, a personality characteristic. Somebody who's tempestuous is somebody who can throw fits one day, kind of they're up and down, they're all over the place. So it suggests that not only is her petticoat tempestuous, but her character, her personality is tempestuous as well. And then we get careless, shoestring. So again, we see the personification. She's the careless one, but it shows up in the shoestring that's poorly tied or what have you. In whose tie I see a wild civility. And here we have like an oxymoron. Civility is to be very correct, right? Wild is just the opposite. So he's putting them together. And I think, for him, that's the ultimate combination. Let's see if I can get this going again. Is it working still? Yeah. So here we get the ultimate combination that she's proper and yet a little wild. Sort of like, the cliche image of the librarian who looks all proper and she's got her hair pinned up and she's got her glasses on, and then she pulls her glasses off and lets the hair pin out, and it turns out that underneath that carefully, organized exterior is this wild, wild woman. So he's sort of getting at the same idea there. Do more bewitch me. So all this stuff turns me on, basically, or bewitches me, and again, that's an old cliche of women as